It's now time for Hot or Not with Steve Phillips. And Steve, after dropping 2 of 3 in Pittsburgh, Toronto heads to Miami now, where Shane Bieber will make his Blue Jays debut on Friday night. Hot or not, Steve, Bieber will pitch like an ace this season for the Blue Jays.
I'm going hot on this. I think Shane Bieber, yes, he hasn't pitched in a major league game since April of 2024. It's been a while. The Blue Jays traded for him without seeing him in a major league game. But on his minor league rehab starts, coming back from Tommy John surgery, he looks like the old Shane Bieber, commanding the strike zone, a strike-throwing machine, changing speeds, throwing any pitch at any time for a strike, keeping hitters off balance. So all the things that he has done in the past, he has done in the rehab starts. I expect him to step in and be Shane Bieber. Not everybody can do it, but a veteran like this at 30 years old, still in the prime of his career, I'm expecting him to come in, pitch well, and put himself in a position to be one of the starters in the postseason in October baseball for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay, Steve, so I gotta say it, you are a believer, all right? Now, his return has created a bit of a logjam, and Eric Lauer will be skipped over this time through the rotation. John Schneider says it's not a permanent move to the bullpen, but hot or not, this is the right way to handle the Jays' rotation.
I wouldn't do it this way. I understand why they're doing it, because he's the least pedigree of all of the pitchers that they have. That being said, I don't mind that Lauer goes to the bullpen, and I expect that he would for the playoffs. I just wouldn't do it right now. I think you've got 6 starting pitchers with Bieber back in. Go with a 6-man rotation a couple times through. That way, you've got everybody fresh, getting a little bit of extra rest, because the Jays are not built to shorten the game with a great bullpen at the end. They're built in the postseason to have really good starting pitching, for guys to extend, to go a little bit deeper in the game. And I want them to be rested. I want them to be strong when October rolls around. I would go with a 6-man rotation. I would keep Lauer in the rotation with Bieber coming in at least a couple more times through. Plus, this is kind of a statement that I'm choosing Berríos over Lauer. I'm choosing Bassett over Lauer. And I don't think you need to do that to send a message to anybody. Keep all 6 in the rotation, and then when you get to September, transition somebody out of the rotation like you're getting them ready for the playoffs. This is preparation. This is practice. We're going to make you a reliever for the postseason. In fact, toward the end, I might do that with 2 of the starting pitchers. That could be factors for them in the bullpen in October. I look at Berríos and Lauer as those 2 guys that I would put in the bullpen when they get to the postseason. I wouldn't do it now. I'd do it and make it preparation for the playoffs when they finally do decide to make that move.
Sounds like a really good approach. And as we move to the postseason, the AL East still isn't a lock for the Jays. The Bronx Bombers are their closest pursuers, and they're starting to really mash again. They're the only team in the majors with more than 200 homers. And Steve, hot or not, the Yankees are the Jays' biggest threat.
Interesting, because I think most everybody would say, yes, they had 9 home runs against the Tampa Bay Rays. They've hit 9 homers in a game 3 times this year. It's not. It's not the New York Yankees. For me, it's the Boston Red Sox. I think the Yankees don't have the kind of pitching that scares me. I think the Blue Jays can beat them. Sure, they've got some sluggers. Good pitching can shut down good hitting. I'm afraid of the team with the better pitching. So I still think the Jays will hold off both of these clubs, but I am more concerned for Toronto when it comes to the Boston Red Sox. Garrett Crochet is a legitimate ace. He's a true Cy Young candidate this year. Brian Bayo has really emerged as a number 2 starter. Lucas Giolito, they're 3 deep in the rotation with some other, with Walker Buehler and Dustin May, they could go 5 deep. And Aroldis Chapman at the end of the game is more of a sure thing than anybody. The Yankees are running out of the bullpen. So, yes, the Yankees are swinging the bats better. Yes, they're crushing the baseball out of the ballpark. But I think the Blue Jays pitching can neutralize the bats for the Yankees. I think it's the Boston Red Sox that teams are going to have more difficulty with down the stretch. Plus, the young position players, they don't know any better. They're just out there having fun playing baseball. They don't know they're not supposed to be great in September. I think that they are a real challenge for everybody if they get to October. But I think the Blue Jays are the better team over the Yankees and over the Boston Red Sox.
Well, that's great news for Jays fans. And after missing the last 2 games with hamstring inflammation, the Jays will hope to have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. back in the lineup for the series opener Friday night in Miami.